It was 8:52 a.m. on a quiet Thursday in late November, the kind of crisp morning where the North Carolina air still carried that faint bite of coming winter, frost glittering on the lawns like scattered diamonds under the low golden sun, leaves crunching underfoot with that dry, satisfying snap that reminds you the world is still turning. And I was sitting on my front porch in the same weathered Adirondack chair that had seen me through sandstorms in Hellman and lonely nights in a too-empty house after the divorce. Black coffee steaming in my favorite chipped mug, the one with the faded EGA that my buddy mailed me from Lejeune right before an explosion took him, when the eviction notice hit me square in the chest like a frag round I never saw coming. Bright pink paper flapping in the breeze, cheap photocopied seal already curling at the edges like it knew it was bullshit, giving me exactly 72 hours to vacate the house I had paid for in full, cash on the barrel the day I separated from the core. No mortgage, no bank owning a piece of my soul, just my name alone on the deed locked in a fireproof box I bought the same week I learned that peace is something you have to defend with your life. And there she stood at the end of my walkway like a bad dream in leopard print. Victoria Hargrove, 58 years old, and every inch the self-anointed dictator of Oak Ridge Estates. Hair bleached so aggressively blonde, it looked radioactive under the morning sun. Lips painted that violent coral that screamed compensation, leopard print blazer over silk blouse despite the chill. Heels sharp enough to open arteries clicking on my driveway like gunfire, flanked by two rented security guards who kept shifting their weight and staring at their shoes because even they knew this was some next-level unhinged shit. "This community has standards, Mr. Reed," she proclaimed to the entire goddamn street. Voice pitched for maximum neighborhood theater, curtains twitching in every window from here to the cul-de-sac like it was pay-per-view. "And you, sir, have repeatedly shown that you do not belong among decent, law-abiding people." I didn't stand up, didn't raise my voice, didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing a single flicker of anger cross my face. Just took another slow, deliberate sip of coffee that had gone lukewarm the exact moment her perfume cloud hit me like chemical warfare, and smiled the kind of slow, quiet, knowing smile you learn in the sandbox when you already know exactly how the ambush is going to unfold and you're just waiting for the perfect moment to spring it. Because Victoria Hargrove, in all her over-perfumed, over-botoxed glory, had absolutely no clue that the man she was trying to throw out into the cold like yesterday's trash was quietly collecting rent on the house she was sleeping in every single night. The house where she hosted her little kangaroo court, HOA meetings in the dining room I paid the taxes on. My name is Ethan Reed, 46 years old now, 12 years United States Marine Corps, 2 combat tours in places whose names still taste like copper and regret when I say them out loud, 1 shredded L4, L5 disc that ended my career but taught me the single most valuable lesson war ever gives: adapt or die, and never, ever let anyone take what's yours. The VA loan and disability pension weren't much, but they were mine. And in 2019, I walked into the closing office on 217 Sycamore Crest with a cashier's check and a heart that had forgotten how to feel anything but survive, stood in that empty living room with sunlight pouring across scarred oak floors that smelled like fresh beginnings and sawdust and possibility, and felt something loosen in my chest I hadn't felt since I was 17 years old, and thought the world was fair, peace, actual peace. The kind you can build an entire life on if nobody is allowed to take it from you. I discovered renovation the way some men discover God. Therapeutic. Almost holy. The bite of a sawzall through rotted subfloor at midnight when sleep wouldn't come. The smell of fresh pine and stain replacing cordite and fear. YouTube my seminary. Home Depot my church. And somewhere between the 3rd and 4th house I realized I wasn't just fixing properties. I was fixing the parts of me that came home broken, one piece at a time. One perfectly leveled deck board, one perfectly hung door that closed without a fight. By 2023, I owned 7 houses in Oak Ridge Estates through Apex Properties LLC, all bought quiet at foreclosure auctions and estate sales, while everyone else was panic buying toilet paper, all fixed up with my own hands on weekends and leave blocks and sleepless nights when the nightmares came, all rented to good, quiet people who just wanted a safe place to raise their kids or grow old without drama. A firefighter who worked 24 on 48 off and mowed his lawn in bunker pants. Because he forgot to change, a pediatric nurse named Lila who left cookies on my porch every Christmas even though she had no idea they were for her landlord. A widow named Margaret who watered her roses like they were children and waved at me every single morning like I was the son she lost to an IED in Kandahar, her eyes soft with something that looked dangerously like hope. I stayed invisible on purpose, because the last thing a man fresh out of uniform needs is attention, especially from people who think power comes from a clipboard and a private Facebook group where they plot like middle school mean girls with mortgages. Then Victoria happened. She swept into the HOA presidency on 19 votes the way a hurricane sweeps into a trailer park, promised to restore pride and property values, which translated to terrorizing anyone who didn't kiss the ring fast enough. And the first time I met her, she clicked up my driveway in 4-inch heels sharp enough to open arteries, perfume arriving 30 seconds before she did like a chemical weapon cloud. Clipboard clutched like Moses's tablets, smile stretched so tight I worried her face might actually crack and reveal the demon underneath. Your truck is a commercial vehicle and an eyesore, she informed me, eyeing my 2017 Silverado like it had personally murdered her book club. I showed her the CC and RS, quoted section 6.2b, verbatim like I was calling in fire support, sent photos of the manufacturer specs proving it was under the weight limit, no signage, no commercial plates, everything polite, marine polite, and she responded with 4 sentences that boiled down to, I am the law now, peasant, and doubled the fine anyway. After that, the violation notices came like mortars, grass 0.4 inches too tall, even though I measured it with a damn ruler on video, trash cans visible for 9 extra minutes on collection day, a wind chime that constituted a noise nuisance, because apparently silence is a personality. A garden gnome named Sir Frederick that apparently exceeded maximum allowable height by half an inch and was therefore a threat to national security. Each notice threatening $50 a day in fines, every single one mysteriously waived if your last name appeared on Victoria's Christmas card list or if you brought decent wine to her book club that exclusively read Facebook memes. I hired Laura Hayes, best damn HOA attorney east of the Mississippi, sharp as a bayonet and twice as dangerous. And even she looked at the 3-inch stack of notices and said, Ethan, you're 100% right on every single count. But these people will drag this out until you're broke or broken. Sometimes the smart move is just paint the damn door the approved shade of beige and move on with your life. I looked her dead in the eye and said, Ma'am, with respect, I spent 12 years learning that the only way to deal with a bully is to punch them directly in the mouth, metaphorically speaking, and I'm real good at metaphors. 6 months of constant harassment, $2,000 in bogus fines I refused to pay on principle. Neighbors afraid to put out Halloween decorations in case Victoria decided pumpkins were seasonal clutter, violating architectural guidelines. Old man Harold across the street getting cited for a faded American flag, even though he flew it at half-mast every Memorial Day for his son. Margaret crying in the Harris Teeter parking lot because Victoria told her the native pollinator garden she'd tended for 6 years was weeds that lowered property values. The Martinez family getting fined for their daughter's portable basketball hoop even though Victoria's best friend had an RV parked on the street for 14 months straight looking like a redneck spaceship, and I documented everything like my life depended on it. Because it did. Photos time-stamped. Emails saved in folders labeled by date. Certified mail receipts in a binder thicker than the Quran we carried in our packs for some reason. Building a case the way we built fighting positions in Ramadi, slow, methodical, waiting for the perfect shot. Then came the morning of the pink paper, the fake eviction notice, clip art sheriff badge and all, statute number wrong by an entire chapter because she couldn't even be bothered to Google properly. And Victoria delivered it personally with her rented goons, standing on my porch like she'd already won, voice dripping that fake sweet venom that makes your teeth ache and your trigger finger itch. I let the silence stretch just long enough for her smirk to falter, took one more sip of coffee, said, I'll take it under advisement, ma'am, closed the door soft as a coffin lid, and immediately posted the scan to the Oak Ridge Estates Facebook group with 0 commentary, no caption, just the image. The comments section became Gettysburg, Antietam, and the Battle of Fallujah all rolled into one holy righteous explosion. 47 notifications in 3 hours, then 400. People I'd waved at for 5 years suddenly pouring out stories that broke my heart clean in half. Margaret's hands shaking as she typed about her weeds. The Martinez girl crying because she couldn't shoot hoops anymore. Harold posting a photo of his faded flag with the caption, "My son died for this." Every story worse than the last. And for the first time I realized I wasn't fighting for my house anymore. I was fighting for every single one of them. For every quiet person who just wanted to live in peace and got terrorized instead. That night, I pulled the IRS Form 1120H for the HOA and nearly dropped my phone in the sink. $148,000 in dues collected over 2 years, $93,000 supposedly spent on landscaping when the actual contractor, Carolina Green, had been charging $32,000 a year since 2019 and had the canceled checks to prove it. The difference, 61 grand, funneled to Hargrove Landscape Solutions, LLC, registered agent Travis Hargrove, Victoria's baby brother, who couldn't tell a boxwood from a dandelion but apparently could cash checks just fine. I sat in the dark kitchen with the laptop glow painting my face blue, coffee gone cold hours ago, dogs snoring at my feet, and felt something ancient and cold and beautifully calm settle in my bones. The same feeling I used to get right before we kicked in a door in Fallujah and everything went slow motion perfect. Game on, motherfucker. Then God, or karma, or the universe with its wicked, perfect sense of humor, handed me the kill shot on a silver platter. Going through my rental ledger at 2:14 a.m., sleepless and furious and running on pure black coffee rage, I scrolled past the familiar addresses until I landed on 512 Willowbrook Drive. Beautiful Ashford 2-story with the wraparound porch and the dogwood tree in front. Tenant name Victoria Marie Hargrove. Lease signed May 2023 after her divorce. Now month to month now. 3 months delinquent and climbing. $5,700 owed and counting. And every single HOA board meeting held illegally in the dining room that my LLC paid the taxes on, recorded on official letterhead with the address I owned. I laughed so hard I scared the dog. A deep, ragged, beautiful sound that came from somewhere near my boots and echoed off the kitchen cabinets, and whispered to the empty room. "Oh, Victoria, you absolute idiot. You really, really did pick the wrong quiet guy to fuck with." January 15th arrived like Christmas morning for people who love justice, served ice cold. Clubhouse packed with 89 souls, standing room only, folding chairs scraping linoleum. Local news camera in the back because someone tipped WCNC and they smelled blood, air thick with burnt coffee and righteous fury and the faint metallic taste of reckoning. Victoria at the head table clutching her stupid gavel like a life raft, face powdered to porcelain perfection, but eyes wild like a cornered animal. And at exactly 4:02 p.m., a Wake County Sheriff's deputy knocked on 512 Willowbrook Drive and served her a real eviction summons. Plaintiff Apex Properties LLC, landlord me, and I didn't arrange the timing. I swear to God. But damn if it wasn't perfect. She walked in 23 minutes later looking like she'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Hair slightly deflated, lipstick feathered at the edges, hands trembling around her Kate Spade purse like it was the only thing holding her together, and took her seat without a word, eyes fixed on the table like if she didn't look at me I might disappear. The vote was 73-9 to recall her ass into the next dimension and maybe the one after that. The room erupted, people I'd never spoken 10 words to in 5 years hugging me, crying, cheering like we'd just taken back Fallujah block by block, Margaret grabbing my face with both hands and kissing my cheek with tears running down her wrinkles, Harold saluting me with shaking fingers, the Martinez girl high-fiving me so hard my palm stung for an hour, and I still had one card in my back pocket burning a hole straight through the denim. I walked to the front slow, let the noise die down to a hush you could feel in your chest like incoming artillery, held up her lease and the eviction filing, and said, calm as Sunday morning communion, just so there's no confusion about exactly who we've been taking orders from for the last 18 months. Victoria Hargrove has been my tenant since May 2023, is currently $5,700 behind on rent, and as of 4 o'clock this afternoon is being legally evicted from the house she tried to steal from me with a fake pink notice and rented muscle. The silence was so complete I heard somebody's phone hit the linoleum floor and bounce twice. Then the place absolutely detonated, half the room on their feet roaring approval. The other half jaws on the floor in the most beautiful collective oh shit moment I've ever witnessed in my life. Victoria's mascara running black rivers down her cheeks while she screamed, "This is retaliation." And I just looked her dead in the eyes and said, "No, ma'am. This is consequences, perfectly legal, perfectly documented, perfectly delicious." She ran out crying, heels clacking like gunfire, purse clutched to her chest, and not a single soul, not one of her wine club coven, followed her into the cold January night. She vacated by Valentine's Day, left the house looking like a tornado made of rage, and Bath and Body Works had sex inside it. Holes punched in every door, carpet stained with what I hope was red wine. Appliances kicked in like she took it personal. I kept the deposit, billed her for $4,200 in damages. She ghosted to Florida with whatever dignity she had left, which wasn't much. We recovered $43,000 from her brother's shell company, dropped dues 20% the same week, turned the embezzled money into the Oak Ridge Community Scholarship Fund, first recipient a senior whose single mom rents from me, full ride to NC State. Ceremony in the clubhouse with Margaret's peach cobbler and tears running down every face in the room. Built a community garden on the empty lot Victoria wanted to sell to her cousin the flipper. Kids now chase butterflies through black-eyed Susans where fear used to grow. Painted the clubhouse a cheerful blue that Victoria would have called tasteless. Through block parties that lasted until the cops showed up to join, not to shut us down. 1 year later, I still sit on the same porch, same chair, same coffee mug. But now the coffee stays hot longer because neighbors stop to talk instead of hiding. Kids ride bikes without looking over their shoulders for pink tickets. Margaret brings peach cobbler every Sunday and calls me son without irony. And sometimes, when the wind is right and the dogwoods are blooming, I catch myself smiling that same smile from the morning of the pink paper. Only this time it reaches my eyes and stays there. People ask if it was justice or revenge. I still don't have an answer that satisfies the part of me that still flinches at loud noises. I never lied, never threatened, never broke a single law, just used the rules against the person who thought rules were for little people. And yet when I remember the exact second Victoria realized the man she tried to homeless was the one holding her lease, something dark and deeply satisfied unfurls in my chest like smoke from a burning building. Maybe that makes me a monster. Or maybe, when someone tries to steal your peace, your home, the one thing you bled for that nobody can ever take again, giving them the exact same terror they dished out isn't evil. It's balance. It's the universe correcting itself, one leopard print blazer at a time. So tell me, where do you draw the line? When does fighting back become something darker? And if you're out there right now, coffee going cold while some entitled tyrant in heels tries to ruin your life over grass height or a garden gnome, know this. Document everything. Find your people, stay calm, stay relentless, and when the moment comes, drop the hammer so hard they hear the echo in hell. Because sometimes the quiet veteran on the porch with the war binder and the long memory turns out to be the reckoning you never saw coming. And damn, it feels pretty good.